Welcome, everybody, for an episode on Beyond the Food Pyramid. My name is Tommaso Sanna. I am the director and teacher at Oak Park Fitness. I'm also a coach, a personal trainer. And today I wanted to go over a little bit of the new food pyramid that the USDA has launched this year. I wanted to give you my thoughts on it. And also, I wanted to expand a little bit more on the food pyramid. And I wanted to teach you what Sardinian have taught us in my life, being a Sardinian descendant and being born in Sardinia, and about wellness and longevity. So, with this conversation, it's going to take us to really demystify that in order to be healthy, it's not just about eating healthy. It's actually a lot more. And we're going to talk about what this new shift in the food pyramid in the US is going to mean for the wellness movement and also for the epidemic in obesity and GLP-1, which is a direct catalyst for metabolic dysfunctions, diabetes, heart attacks, and many, many other lifestyle-derived diseases. We're going to look at the shift in nutrition. The modern advice is moving towards a higher meat consumption and fewer legumes, challenging traditional wisdom. For me, that was the catalyst to come on today and to start thinking about really putting into new pillars. And I wanted to share 4 pillars of Sardinian nutrition and longevity hacks, which have worked very well for the Sardinian population. But it's not just nutrition. It goes beyond that. So in order to have some context, we're going to see how the Western modernized food movement, overly processed food, and a very active, always in the optimization mindset of shifting things and always focusing on numbers and data and having those indicators kind of motivate us to improve nutrition just on data-driven nutrition, which ignores, to me, I think, a very big human element, which is community. So we want to have this conversation, and I hope that you take notes and that you share this video with your friends and family, and that you, most importantly, study it deeper for yourself, and that you will look into it to really what and how you can implement all of the pillars that Sardinian wellness has in his wisdom as also time tested that it works. So the goal here is to move beyond the numbers, is to understand the essence of health as a lived experience. My heritage, I was born in Cagliari, in the island of Sardinia. A lot of my relatives, from my grandmother to my current aunt, they all lived past 90. I think that's a great number to reach. I think that we can. I think that with certain practices, we as humans can adapt the lifestyle of our ancestors. And by no means do I want to minimize the fact that science and our understanding of technologies, how we can optimize things, they do play a nice role, an important role in identifying precursors to diseases, but we shall all go back to the foundation. Generational wisdom is very important. By observing the health and vitality across multiple generations in my own family and beyond the textbooks, I can teach that I live those principles myself, even though I lived in the United States of America. The lived experience of this wisdom is been passed down from generation to generation. I've seen it from my grandmother passing it to my mom, and my mom passing it to us. So I know that mothers and parents in general play a big role in passing wisdom nuggets to their children. And so by no means my my family is ever count calories, nor do they have weight food or being so obsessed about their body figure. And never have I seen them being worried about, the certain gluten intolerance or lactose intolerance or any intolerance whatsoever. So I believe that our modern world and vaccinations and a lot of the pesticides that we grow our food in the land are contributing to the breaking down of a lot of the nutrition that our foods are receiving from the earth. And so it is a systemic problem that we have when we look at it deeply, and not just a food consumption. There are many, many other factors now in the modern world. And not to digress in this presentation and this teaching, I do want to emphasize and bring the attention back to Sardinia in particular. Number one, because it is my heritage, it is my place of where I have inherited the culture and the tradition of my ancestors. But also Sardinia plays a big role globally, because it makes what's called the Blue Zone list. The Blue Zone list is a list of cities and nations that whose research shows that their rate of living has exceeded or reached a level of 100 years old. So Sardinia boasts of one of the highest concentrations of centennials globally, particularly in the mountains regions. The secret here is not an ancient or a genetic anomaly. It is the direct outcome of a lifestyle-based culture. The key, the power lies in consistency over decades, habits that are lived daily, not short-term hacks or trends. And this brings it into a whole new definition for health. Health is not a destination, but a rhythm of life maintained over a century. This pedigree qualifies Sardinia to be in the teaching categories of role models. So just like we want to have influencers, we want to look at Sardinia and see how their lifestyle can influence us. What can it teach us that we can adapt in this modern world? Because obviously there's a big disconnect between just copying what Sardinia is doing or what the Mediterranean is doing or any other, or the Japanese culture. But it's more about something deeper that I'm going to touch on later, okay? So keep that in mind. So it's not just about copying what the Sardinian Blue Zone diet is, but it's more than that, okay? And this is going to make sense as we continue this presentation. So we looked at the Mediterranean diet pyramid, which is on the left side. We see the island of Sardinia, which is basically in the middle, in the heart of the Mediterranean. We have a northern of Corsica. In the southern, we have Sicily. And just about to the east, we have Rome, Lazio region, and Campania. So we have an island that you can go from top to bottom in 4.5 hours driving, or faster if you have a faster car. But to break down other side, Sardinian blue, we can see that in the bottom on the foundation of the diet is primarily, whole milk, it's olive oil, it is cheeses and nuts. And then as we move up forward, there are vegetables, there are some poultry, some eggs, legumes, there's coffee. And on top of the pyramid, the top, the pinnacle is going to be where the meats are. On the Mediterranean side, they go with the fruit and the milk and the nuts and the grains and the legumes. It kind of resembles a little bit of the new the new pyramid in the US, but obviously the US has added a lot more the foundation of meats and has taken out the importance of the legumes, which are very accessible, and it's what one of the things focus of what that makes the backbone of Sardinian Mediterranean, even Mediterranean, but Sardinian lifestyle. So the trend is a modern push towards protein-centered diet. So right now in the US, they're pushing a protein-centered diet, significantly increased meat intake, often marketed as evolutionary. The reduction we see in the new pyramid is the legumes. Once a humble backbone of the world's healthiest population are being sidelined in favor of animal products. The shift towards biological optimization and macros over holistic wellness and long-term health concerns, it's what is the focus of my presentation. So there is a huge focus on optimizing, and then there is a big separation, a big kind of element that is being minimized, and we'll talk about it in a second. The problem with modern nutrition is that food is being stripped from its cultural and social root and is treated as a meal fuel rather than a shared heritage. The modern trend often ignores long-term health outcomes and sustainability in favor of immediate visible results. This is the insta gratification, the insta health or wellness. It is the instant instead of actually shared process of enjoying and being mindful. The missing link is that if we intensify focus on just what we eat, we forget the vital importance of how and why we eat. And Sardinian have this as a backbone of heritage, which is they use food not just a fuel, but as a way to really honor what they grow. So growing primarily from their ground, from their land, and in seasons. So the traditional Sardinian diet has a foundation built on legumes, seasonal vegetables, whole grains, providing a rich source of fiber and complex nutrients, so density nutrients, foods that are going to keep you full longer, and as well is going to allow you to have more energy. We also have a rhythm of eating in harmony with the seasons and the land. Very, very important is that they honor the land and the seasons, ensuring that every meal is as fresh as it is nourishing. And the natural synergy of higher fiber in every meal is not just focused on one particular macro, but it's actually it diversifies. You have high fiber, complex carbohydrates, and healthy fats that support the long-term metabolic health. So again, health is not just what you eat, but how you live in relation to your food. So we just need to learn this from Sardinian, that to go back to the basics. Meat in Sardinia is a celebratory addition, not a foundation. So historical meat was consumed sparingly, often reserved for Sundays, religious festivals, or special family celebrations. It was a celebration that the meat was was being brought at the table. Okay, so it was primarily as a flavor enhancing or a side treat. Meat never occupied the center of the plate in the traditional longevity diet. The foundational longevity was built on plants, not protein powders. Sorry about that. So what we look at here is just that there is a different association and relationship with food than just utilizing it as a fuel. That is the point I want to come across, is that longevity is more than just a diet. We're going to look at the holistic view. Food is only one pillar of a much larger structure. A true wellness is built on multiple interconnected foundations. There's a synergy. Health is the result of how your diet interacts with our environment, our community, and our sense of purpose. No single ingredient cannot create a life of vitality. It requires the harmony of the whole system. And we're going to go deeper on this this is going to bring us to the pillar number one, which is food as nourishment. A plant-forward diet centered on earth bounty, legumes, grains, and greens, providing the essentials nutrients for a long, vibrant life. The simplicity is this: minimal processing and maximum nutrients. The focus is on whole foods in their most natural state, prepared with care. So seasonally, eating these fresh foods available locally and aligning our body with the natural cycles of the environment allows our body to really be super nourished and also absorb those nutrients for the season. Okay? Because certain nutrients in certain seasons have the vitamins that the body is requiring for that season. Okay? Pillar number two is the power of social bonds. This is what makes Sardinian diet totally different than just copying a diet, because the social bond is divided in three different phases: is communal dining, belonging, and connection. This way, longevity is shared and not solitary. The act of eating together is as vital as the food itself. In Sardinia, meals are shared virtually every day, and there is a connection. Strong community ties and multiple generational living reduces stress and provides a profound sense of purpose. Right? When we belong, when we have a sense of belonging, it tells our nervous system that we are safe. And when we are feeling safe in our nervous system, our digestive process improves because it is designed to create the necessary hormones and enzymes to break down food, and it allows the communication in the intestine to welcome the food that is being eaten. Okay, so that sense of feeling safe and belonging in the time of eating a meal and not eating fast or alone improves longevity. It also improves digestion and gut health, which we'll talk about. Connection. There is a connection between longevity and the actual food that we eat, and it's not a solitary pursuit. It is a collective outcome of a society that values every individual. So when you're sitting down at the table, you are more than eating. You are sharing something of life-giving, and there is energy, there is an exchange of that within the atmosphere and within the food. So food is not just a means to an end, but it's actually is the whole of the experience. Okay, we're gonna go to pillar number three, which is the environment of natural movement. Right, Sardinians are very active. Movement is not a chore, but a necessity. Walking the rugged vertical hills of Sardinia is a daily requirement of life, not a scheduled gym session. Also, there is low intensity activity. Longevity is built on a constant low intensity movement, herding, gardening, walking, right? It's an integrated seamlessly into the day and rhythm of the Sardinian culture. The landscape is naturally and just encourages health. Just looking at the landscape, the environment elicits this desire to move, where the terrain itself acts as a silent partner in maintaining vitality. Therefore, movement is integrated into life, not a scheduled gym session. And the last pillar is the genes and epigenetics. It's a very important topic. There's a lot of science backed on epigenetics. It's one of the branches that is taking off in the functional medicine field. And it is telling us that our environment have a lot more to influence our genes than we thought. Okay. We say that, if you put a spoiled apple around healthy apples, within days, the other apples will actually get spoiled because something within the environment creates a catalyst effect. So in our genes, we have receptors that are constantly monitoring our environment for safety or threat. And so the epigenetics of our genes is just designed that way to evolve. And in a modern life society where we're constantly bombarded by our phones and news and social media alerts and work, we are actually disrupting the epigenetic of our cells because our cells are constantly feeling that there's a flight fight environment. Now, we're actually not even thinking about that, but our cells are designed for this type of epigenetic, right? So we're going to look at the blueprint and why it's important to implement these four pillars into today modern's lifestyle and not just copy what the diet is, but actually implementing the four pillars. The genetics of our system, of our DNA, provides the potential, right? So think about this: we have a blueprint, and this is basically just a potential that we're gonna build something, right? But then we still have to put the work and the engineering behind it. So the genes provide the potential, but they are not our destiny. They are the raw material of our biology. When we are living lifestyles that, are just constantly rushed and they go against the pillars that we just explained, then we are, in essence, we are what we eat and how we move and how we love. So it determines which genes are going to be expressed or silenced. This is very important because you can expatriate somebody from Sardinia into an environment that is not their adaptive to their genes and is going to basically be expressing what is being received by the environment. If that person, a Sardinian, is being brought, for example, in an environment with a lot of stress and their lifestyle is mimicking the opposite of what their genes is designed to do, even though that person is Sardinian, it's not going to express the genetic potential of those genes. Okay. So that's why it's not just about copying something that he eats. Even if the Sardinian eats great foods, it's not enough because it's missing the other components, which allows the genes to express itself. So our bodies are constantly responding to the world we build around and are shifting our health in real time. So remember this from this pillar is that our genes load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. The modern wellness mistake is that there's an over obsession on macros. This reduces the complex and the cultural act of eating to mere just grams or protein or fats and carbohydrates. And I hear this all around, also in Italian nutrition and fitness trainers. Italians want to be like Americans. They want to have the American lifestyle, but they're forgetting where their heritage is, and it's sad to see it, but unfortunately, you have this beautiful country of Italy that is totally being ruined by the modern, ultra processed foods, and the new generation is really just not valuing the culture that they come from, and so the even within the Italian culture, the genes are not expressing themselves the way they should because of the ultra processed food that the Italian is eating as well in the new generation. We are overly obsessed on optimizing and the constant exhausting pressure of hacking our biology with the newest fad, the newest science of peak performance is actually robbing us from living well. The result is going to be increased anxiety because the nervous system stays in a constant state of dysregulation. And when we talked about before, that digestion is primarily regulated by our nervous system, and our gut health is regulated by our nervous system. So this increase of anxiety, it's deeply disconnected in relationships, and it's causing food allergies, it's causing our bodies to sick and to disease and to age prematurely. Aging prematurely causes premature death, diseases, which are like we talked about in the gene, not programmed in the blueprint, but they're being activated because of this macro obsession and optimization culture that is like living at the edge of technology and forgetting being disconnected to culture and the actual what Italians are known for, la vita bella, la dolce vita. They're disconnecting from that. Okay. And Sardinia is um, is still carrying that heritage. And thank God that we have them to really look upon and to really learn from. Health is not a calculation, it is a way of being, and we should go back to that. The silent killer of a diet, it's not just the foods. Like we said before, there are other matrix that are constantly being bombarded, and toxins play a big role. So no diet is perfect. We're not like I said, Sardinians are not looking at the diet, but more of a lifestyle. And the silent killer that no diet can fully fix is high cholesterol levels can undermine even the most perfect nutritional plan. So chronic stress in is something that we should not ignore. So loneliness, right? When we are constantly optimizing our diet, we're going to go into loneliness. There's a health risk significant um, as smoking. So smoking and loneliness have a very similar correlation in health risk. Social isolation is a profound biological stressor that data often overlooks. And there's a disconnection, so losing our sense of place and purpose without a reason to wake up, the body's drive for longevity begins to fade. So purpose is actually something that Sardinian have high on. And so waking up with a sense of taking care of the land, taking care of the family is something that gives you purpose. Taking care of a business, taking care of a service gives you a purpose of waking up each day and begin to lengthen your life. Wellness is a cohesive system and not a menu. Okay, so why copying the diet often fails? And there are many there that is you hear it, eat like this, eat like that. This is the best way to eat and lose fat. But what we are saying is that the lack of context. You don't just eat the beans, you need the lifestyle. A diet is not a standalone pill. It is a response to a environment. Okay, so you have a cultural vacuum. So if you remove a diet from its origin, it strips away its efficacy. And the social ritual and traditions are the secret ingredients of health. So And bottom line is the whole picture is wellness is a cohesive system, not a menu. It's not isolated habits. It is produced by the same result of an integrated way of living. Health is a symphony and not a single note. So as we finish the presentation, the reframing the wellness is we're going to go from control to cohesion. Cohesion means aligning our habits with our social and physical environment rather than fighting against them. Sustainability. We're going to focus on building a life that supports health naturally, making vitality an effortless outcome of our daily choice. And we're going to integrate. We're going to make wellness an effortless part of daily existence, woven into the fabric of how we live and interact. Therefore, remember, wellness is a cohesive system and not a menu. Yeah, how are we going to apply today's Sardinian wisdom? Well, we're going to focus primarily on building a foundation of plant-based foods like legumes, whole grain, and seasonal vegetables at the start of your plate. And let the earth bounty be your primary source of nourishment. Intentionally eat meat, treat it as a celebration, adding flavor, enhancing your plate on a daily basis, right? Respect the animal, treat the animal with respect and honor, and bless your foods each and every time you eat. Have a meal with somebody, invite somebody over, cook a meal, share a meal, prioritize eating with others wherever possible, reclaim the dining table as a place for connection, conversation, and community. Just bring the spirit of the village to your modern table. Small changes have a big impact. So if you start with consistency, small daily habits outweigh occasional cleanses or extreme interventions. Longevity is built on the quiet moments of every day. Food is not the moment-to-moment thinking about it constantly, but it is something that you just eat because it is time to nourish your body and be in connection with others. Focus on whole foods and natural movement. Strip away the complexity of modern wellness and return to the basics that works. After you eat, go for a walk. Go for a walk together. Go for a walk and rest. Have a conversation, right? Shut your phone off. Don't go back to work right away. Allow your body to just assimilate what you're eating. Eat it slow. Allow the food to be well digested. And patience. Longevity is a marathon, not a sprint. True health is a lifelong journey of alignment and not a quick fix to a destination to be reached. Consistency beats hacks every single time. And so the different kind of pyramid that we talked about before, going from the new pyramid to the new pyramid, we are going to basically start with the foundation of social connection. So think about the pyramid. We're going to put the essential foundation of community and belonging and shared purpose that supports the other habits. Then we're going to put in the middle a natural movement, low intensity activities integrated into the environment on a daily rhythm of life. And on top, we're going to put the nutrient dense nutrition, plant forward, seasonal, and simple foods that nourish the body biological needs. And as a final thought, longevity isn't something you do, it's something you live. It is the quiet, consistent rhythm of a life well connected to the earth and to others. I pray that this has blessed you and to help you reconnect with others, the food, the land, and to yourself. Be blessed and let this principle work in your life. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I'll see you next time with another teaching, exploring Sardinian wisdom in our modern lives and redefine what it means to live well. Stay in touch with my VIP Sardinian workshops on our website at oakparkfitness.com. There are new events coming up, especially in the spring, for my pop-up dinners in New York. We're going to do it in San Francisco, in Miami, and wherever city near you that you would like to have an event. let me know, get in touch with me, and we'll make it happen in your city. I love you. God bless.